Grand Rising. So, I did a video last night. I ended up changing my privacy to only me because talking about this stuff is really scary. Like, I'm not a criminal. I'm not a criminal, but I was facing criminal charges for Facebook posts for trying to report a crime. Tim Wormager, Tim Conboy, and Kirsten Conboy and Amy Harvey are all guilty of a very serious crime. Obstruction of justice, collusion. Well, Tim Wormager, maybe not perjury. Maybe he's lied. I don't know. But perjury by the other ones, by Tim and Kirsten, committed perjury on court documents. They have destroyed Andrew's life. Or tried to, at least. Thankfully for me and my dad for letting him live here. Otherwise, he would have been homeless. And when he tried to sell his house, they kept blocking the sale of his house so he wouldn't have money. So his sister did some backwards deal with her friend where he only got $10,000 for his house. Him and Kirsten could have each had $20,000 for his house. And her attorney kept blocking it. But yet there's a judgment on Andrew that he has to pay $15,000 for Kirsten's attorney fees and $89,000 for her house that they kept blocking the sale on. Her attorney is also guilty of this. Her attorney is a bully. Reading the court documents, I'm like, her attorney is in, what the hell? This is allowed in court? I am learning a lot about our judicial system. So everyone's worried about immigration and things like that the media is telling you to be concerned about. You should be more concerned about the amount of children who are being trafficked away from their parents through the foster care system because of family court or because of DCF or CPS. These judges don't know anything about our lives, but yet they're making very, very big calls, like writing orders, making very big decisions about our lives. It's not a justice system. It's about winning. It's not even about what's right for the kids. It's not about what's right at all. It's literally about winning. That's what our court has become. It's like a war. It is a war. And there are innocent lives who are being affected by this. Andrew's daughters, I have a friend in Florida, Joy. Her case, I've cried for her. Her daughter's my daughter's age, and I have cried for her daughter and for her. She's like, and then the foster care system they put her in because, so my friend Joy didn't want her child on a medication that had a black box warning on it. And DCF didn't agree with her decision on that. So they took her kid. They've had her kid for over 18 months now. Won't give her daughter back. When they came to take her daughter, they said, you cannot show any emotions. You need to go inside and pack your daughter's bag. Do not show any emotions or make it worse. Like basically telling her how she has to act as they're literally taking her little I think she was 6 at the time, 6-year-old away from her mom. They're telling her how she needs to act. And I listened to these court hearings, and Joy even said, I will record myself giving my child this medication. Just give her back to me. They won't even allow her unsupervised visitation. She's not a bad mom. And she's very smart. She has recorded everything from every hospital she's ever been to with her daughter, everything. She's recorded everything. You can tell she's a great advocate for her kid. And now they've put a gag order on her. She's not even allowed to speak about her story, and they told her that her gag order also applies to her advocate, someone like me and her other advocates as well who know about her story, who have been sharing it. That's what our court systems are doing. It's unconstitutional. Major civil rights issues taking place, especially with Andrew's case as well. Like, it's just case after case after case that I'm hearing about. Our judicial system is involved in a very serious crime. Like, it's very swampy. And I don't know how we change it. I really don't. But that is my biggest concern. I don't give a shit about all the other political stuff. I care about our local judicial systems and how they are treating people. Because I went in there and I saw it. I saw one case when I had to go in there for my criminal charges, when I was facing criminal charges for Facebook posts. I had to go in there and I had Catherine Iverson Landrum, who is a Walls appointed judge, judicial officer. And even the prosecuting attorney was afraid of her. Because apparently there's some miscommunication with the person who was supposed to be in court that day between the public defender and the prosecuting attorney. And when the public defender said, ma'am, Your Honor, my client didn't show up today. She went to work. There's some confusion. She thought we're talking about continuing. There's some confusion. Bench warrant! I am issuing a bench warrant! How disrespectful not to show up for your court hearing! I mean, she had very Queen of Hearts energy. I'm sorry, that was loud. She had very Queen of Heart you know, from the Alice in Wonderland energy, like, off with your head, off with your head. And even the prosecuting attorney was like, Your Honor, in her defense, like, we did talk about continuing this case. I don't care. This is not okay. She needs to be here. She went to work, you guys. This woman went to work because, unlike the judge is already at work. She has to be there regardless. If she didn't show up, whatever. But us, people like us, like, I don't have a job right now, but other people who have to go to court, they have to go to a job to pay these ridiculous fines that you're about to fine them for their criminal charges. I cannot believe the way that people are being treated in the court. I cannot believe the way I saw Andrew treated in the court. His father, his ex-wife, and his sister conspired against him. And they use law enforcement and our judicial system to do it, and they're getting away with it. Maybe now it's finally being investigated because Michael Dahlstrom finally got the boot. But we have asked Michael Dahlstrom from the Rosemont Police to investigate the murder, the death, whatever you want to call it, of Kathleen Conboy. Andrew has stood outside with a sign saying Rosemont Police covered up the murder of Kathleen Conboy because he has legitimate reasons. He's not crazy for saying this. He is not crazy for saying this. And what Tim and Kirsten did, Kirsten filed an order of protection on Andrew, and she used that order of protection to have him arrested for phone calls and text messages. He's never been a danger to her ever. She was the one who was a danger to him during their relationship, and his mom was documenting all of her abusive behavior. She was very abusive to Andrew. And she constantly called Andrew's dad, tattling on Andrew for every little thing that he did. And Kathleen told Tim to stop communicating with Kirsten. Andrew told his dad to stop communicating with his wife. She was causing problems, a lot of problems in their family. Well, the real problem for Tim was his wife and Andrew. So what did he do? I believe he allegedly took out his wife. I don't think the poison was working quick enough, so I think I personally believe he strangled her because the poison wasn't working quick enough, and she told Andrew, as she was purple, it felt like she was being poisoned. And his dad did hear this. He said his dad, when he heard that, stopped in his tracks at the top of the stairs. He came up the stairs and stopped in his tracks. And Andrew's like, you know, so Andrew witnessed it all. He didn't even know his mom. He didn't even question his mom's death until he found her ashes behind a box of adult diapers in his old closet, his old bedroom. And it was in the cheapest box possible that he got from the wherever he got her cremated from. She was cremated within 48 hours. No officers, even Lutz asked his dad in court, did any officer question you about the manner of your wife's death? And he said no. And Officer Larson was there, who I have a video of his dad saying Officer Larson was never at his house during his wife's death, but he's written on the police report, and he's also the one who called off the Hennepin County Medical Examiner. Andrew made a post about him last summer in the middle of my HRO, which the HRO is still valid right now, but it's not valid because it's unconstitutional, so it's null and void. I'm going to continue. I believe in the Constitution, so I'm going to share my story, even though I'm legally not allowed to right now, and it could possibly land me in jail. I could possibly go to jail for Facebook posts, but I am trying to report a crime. So this is obstruction of justice, and Dakota County is involved in this. This is a very serious crime. When I had court with his dad, he didn't have to show any evidence at all of my harassment. Tim Wormiger, who was not the original judge of my order, Tracy Purcell was. Well, again, okay, first of all, his dad got his order denied. Like, it got denied. And then he filed for court where Tracy Purcell was my judge, and instead Tim Wormiger was there. And Tim Wormiger is also on Andrew's civil commitment. His dad and his ex-wife used the ORP to have him arrested, and then they filed a civil commitment. And they try to say that he received all these blows to the head. He had chronic brain injury from his hockey career, his professional hockey career. He played professional hockey. One, that Kirsten got to live a great life with. The guy got to travel to Wales. She got to live this great life with Andrew while he played his hockey career. But then once the money was gone, apparently she was over it. I don't know exactly what happened. I don't know her. I don't know her mindset, how she thinks. But what I do know is that what she did is extremely illegal. What she did to me, she harassed me with court. She committed perjury, saying I made threats of violence to her and her daughters. That is defamation of character. What I am doing is not defamation of character. I am trying to report a crime. I have tried reporting it to multiple law enforcement agencies. Andrew has tried reporting this to multiple law enforcement agencies. He's written letters to the sheriff. He has gone to the BCA. He has tried to go to the Capitol to talk to Attorney General Keith Ellison. I have tried emailing Keith Ellison. I have tried emailing Amy Klobuchar's people. I found somebody at the booth at the State Fair recently. So The fact that there's no way to report a crime except for by talking about it on the internet, that's what I'm going to do. And the Rosemont neighborhood page that keeps deleting our posts, or people who have never met Andrew, never been in his presence, never met me, calling us mentally ill, saying we're defaming someone's character. Excuse me, we're living this. Andrew is living this. His mom was, I believe, poisoned or murdered or whatever. So she's dead. And then his wife and dad conspired to destroy his life, take his daughters away, don't allow him to have any contact with his daughters. This is malicious behavior. Very malicious behavior. She destroyed his entire record. He couldn't even do DoorDash, you guys, because he couldn't pass a background check. He couldn't even sell his house because the title company guy says, you're a domestic abuser. You're not supposed to be selling your house. And he's like, I am not a domestic abuser. So anyways, back to the house sale. His sister gets involved at the end of it and has her friend or whoever buy it for $10,000. All Andrew got was like about $10,000 for his house when they could have each had $20,000. And they did that so he wouldn't have any money. Like, what they have done to him is so evil. And then he got a text later saying, hey, Timothy, we're interested in your property at whatever is like DuPont Path is what his street is, like 17, whatever his address numbers were. I can't remember. But Andrew got a text on his phone for Timothy about Andrew's house being sold, like being interested in his house. So what they did was, I think they bought the house for super cheap. And then they, hold on, here I put my baby down. I think they bought his house for super cheap, and then they turned around and made a huge profit off it, and then Andrew got nothing for it. Like, what? I cannot believe what our judicial system is being used for. It's honestly terrifying. It's very terrifying, the things I'm seeing, not just in law enforcement too. It's not just the judicial system, it's law enforcement as well, what they're doing, what they've been involved in. You heard about that story, that guy, I think he was from Egan, who had the stroke. The officer who was trained in medical stuff let him have a stroke, and now he's brain dead, so he's basically dead, or I'm pretty sure he died, or whatever. My friend Jake was in jail in Scott County. He has diabetes, and he kept saying, I need medical attention, I have diabetes. And they're like, oh, no, you're just drinking, you just need to sleep it off, whatever. They just kept, like, basically denying him help. And he almost died. He was rushed to the hospital. So these law enforcement officers need better training, or I don't even know what we're supposed to do at this point, because, and even with Andrew's case, Andrew was arrested at gunpoint for phone calls and text messages trying to get a hold of his daughters. The order of protection that Kirsten illegally had approved, which if you go and anybody can go to the courthouse. Anybody can go to the courthouse. Anybody can read these documents. Look up Andrew Conboy, Kirsten Conboy. You can read their divorce documents. You can read the OFP. You can read the civil commitment. And you can see that these people, like Kirsten writes all about Tim Conboy in the order for protection. And she talks about how Andrew broke her phone. It was an accident. Andrew accidentally broke her phone when she called his dad because they got into another argument. And she went to go call Tim to go tattle on Andrew. And Andrew slammed her phone down on the counter. He didn't mean to break her phone, but that's what Tim and Kirsten keep saying in the in court and stuff. Oh, Andrew broke her phone, and that's what they're going off of, is Andrew broke her phone. He didn't. It's not like he snapped it in half. He slammed it on the counter, and the screen broke. And they're up playing that he's this crazy delusional person. He's having delusional and grandiose ideas and thoughts and whatever. Even his dad tried to say that my behavior is erratic and I appear to be decompensating. Someone who's never met me before. People on the internet calling Andrew mentally ill. Someone who's never even been in Andrew's presence calling him mentally ill. They have no idea what he's going through. And that's why I don't trust anything I read or hear anymore, because I know that people can go in the court and lie about people to get them in trouble or to destroy their lives. Like, I have friends who have told me that, like, their daughters are going after their stepdads for things. And I'm like, but did they really do that? Or is your friend petty and not having them say that so that way they can win in court? Because I don't believe anything I hear anymore. And that's sad. That's really sad that I can't even believe kids if they say they're being touched. I can't believe women if they say they've been touched. I can't believe anything anymore because women lie. And I saw it happen by Kirsten Conboy. She has destroyed my trust when it comes to, because of her, which, I mean, it's good I'm seeing the truth. But there is no trust in our judicial system or the things that you read. And my family did read those documents, and they did pass judgment on Andrew. And then once they were around Andrew, they realized that he's not any of the things they're claiming. And I am really disappointed in my family members who have discriminated against him. without actually bothering to get to know him. Like the fact that they don't trust that I would make the right decision. I am very careful about who I date. I'm very intentional about who I date. I didn't even want to date Andrew in the beginning because yeah, he had a little bit of a dysregulated nervous system when we first started hanging out because of what he was going through. He was traumatized. And I could see that. I could clearly see what he was going. I didn't know it exactly in the beginning until I went and read the court documents. Once I read the court documents, I was like, oh my God, this is a conspiracy. I listened to his statements. I asked him lots of questions. And once I asked him those questions, I'm like, okay, I actually believe you. Like, this is out of control. I went and read his court documents, and I was like, and he didn't even explain all of it. Like, I didn't even know how bad it was until I went and read his court documents. I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. So I tried to call law enforcement. I'm like, these people are using law enforcement to harass this man. He's been to jail multiple times. He's never abused her. They've taken his kids away, and again, this is abuse to those girls. Like, not allowing your children to speak to their father is child abuse. This is abusive behavior by Kirsten Conboy. And then she tries to claim that he's an absent father on their divorce papers. What? He literally was arrested at gunpoint because of you, and you're going to claim he's an absent father? Now there's like no money because he has to pay her child support. It just comes out of his checks. And when he had a hard time finding a job last summer, they suspended his license because he didn't pay his child support for 2 months because he couldn't find a job. So they suspended his license, his driver's license. And then he got it back, obviously. But like, what? This is what our judicial system is doing to people. This is how the child support stuff works. Like, and it's also another reason why I will not go after Avaloni's dad, because I know his dad is not doing well. Avaloni's grandfather on her dad's side is not doing well. And I know that my ex-husband is like trying to take care of him best he can and like just taking care of things. So I have not bothered. I would never go after him. I can't even get on public assistance because they want me to sign my child support rights over to the state of Minnesota. So any of you, like, do not sign any rights to the government at all. Like, what the government is doing right now, what our judicial system is being used for, it's a war. Like, we are at war right now in America. It's a civil war, and it's against each other. It's against parents. It's against DCF. It's against CPS. It's against the judges, the attorneys, all of it. It is not okay what is happening. And even my cousin, who's an attorney, admits there needs to be reform in these court systems. I mean, these judges are coloring. They are coloring with their little crayons all over the law. It's not even a justice system. People are having their constitutional rights violated. They're having their civil rights violated. Like, this is a civil rights issue. It's a human rights issue. What's happening in our courtrooms? The fact that I'm scared to go to jail over Facebook posts, that's what America has come to. I am not a malicious, evil person. I never posted anything to be malicious. I may have posted a little bit of satire, or a little bit of comedic relief because of what I was going through. I was traumatized. My daughter was arrested, or not my daughter, but Andrew was arrested with my child there at gunpoint. Andrew was pushing her in a swing in his yard, and all of a sudden they were surrounding my daughter and Andrew with guns, and then they snatched my daughter out of the swing, and she's crying. She's screaming, crying, doesn't know what's happening. Andrew's like, it's okay, Avaloni, it's gonna be okay, Avaloni, trying to like calm her down while they're grabbing his arms and putting him in handcuffs. And my daughter said there's no girl officers there. They took her to Holiday, got some snacks. They bought my 5-year-old sunflower seeds, and they had her sitting there by herself at the police station. And I was at a show in Minneapolis. Of course, I'm racing home, but I knew that I was not, I'm worried about my daughter and how she's feeling. So my sister called her brother-in-law, or her husband, my brother-in-law, to go pick up Avaloni. And thankfully, my daughter was very excited to see him. He walks in going, buddy, buddy, buddy. And of course, the cops obviously knew that she knew him because she got all excited when she saw him. But my daughter's been traumatized by this. Andrew's daughter has been traumatized by this. The Rosemont police are covering this up. When I was facing criminal charges for sharing Andrew's post about Paul Larson calling off the Hennepin County medical examiner, I shared Andrew's post about that because that is a very, that's a big piece of your investigation here. The one that the Rosemont police refused to do. So that's what I was facing criminal charges for, was for sharing one of Andrew's posts. For sharing one of Andrew's posts on my Facebook page, I was facing criminal charges. Then I also made a video. I didn't say anybody's name at all in there, but I did share a video about how FI law enforcement was harassing Andrew and then got caught lying to him. and we have proof of that, Sarah Tolferson, who I tried to report this crime to back in, I think it was February. I want to say it was February 2024. I tried to report this to. I went to FLI police station with my daughter after her gymnastics to try to report this. I had my binder. I have a whole binder of my evidence and everything. And I tried to report this to her, and she just basically shushed me up and got me out the door. Well, then the same Sarah Tolferson from FLI Law Enforcement, when Andrew got pulled over in my vehicle because they were stalking him in my vehicle. They were harassing and stalking him. Law enforcement was harassing and stalking Andrew in my vehicle. So they pulled him over in my car, and then I told Andrew, and then the officer said, "Isn't your license suspended?" And Andrew was like, "No," because he had gotten it taken care of when it was suspended. And I'm like, "Andrew, they can't pull you over for that. That's harassment, and you're in my car like that. Like they can't. They're not allowed to do that." So he called Apple Valley. He actually called Sarah Tolferson, told him, "Oh, the reason why you got pulled over is because the girl's car you were driving, her license is suspended." And then he calls me, and I'm at the beach with my family. So I'm getting ready to go to the beach with my family. And so he calls me, he says that. And so then I'm freaking out. I'm like, what did your dad do? Did he get my license suspended somehow? Like, what's going on with the system? Like, I'm scared now. Like, what is happening? Like, my life is being fucking shooken up right now. So I call the next day to the DMV to figure out what's going on with my license. Like, what, is it suspended now? Like, what do I gotta do to get my license back up? Like, I don't have the money for this shit. So I call, and no, it's not. It's never been suspended. There's never been any suspension of my license or anything. So why is Sarah Tolferson from Apple Valley Police Department lying to Andrew? And Andrew said that she used to coach hockey with him, and she was fired because she was rude to the kids. So why is she a law enforcement officer? I've got questions. I've got lots of questions. Ones that the American people, the citizens that pay their taxes to these institutions, what would you call them? What are these agencies, these officers, these law enforcement officers that are lying to citizens, that are not investigating deaths when people actually have a concern? Like, where do you go? Where do you go to have a death investigated? A possible murder. Where do you go? When I called Officer Hughes about that post, that why I was being violated, he said it was for sharing Andrew's post with Officer Larson. And I said, do you not believe in the Constitution? He said he was told by a higher up he had to, which his higher up is Michael Dahlstrom, the one who just got let go. So the Rosemont neighborhood page is deleting my posts. Like, the Rosemont people have questions about Michael Dahlstrom and why he was let go. And I'm hoping that maybe now they're finally investigating this. But he has swept this under the rug. This whole death thing. Andrews will not shut up and stay silent. I am not going to shut up and stay silent. I'm going to continue sharing this because the people deserve to know what their court systems are being involved in. They have destroyed Andrew's life. This is a conspiracy, defamation of character, kidnapping at this point with his daughters, collusion, I said conspiracy, perjury. I mean, there's so many crimes with Andrew's case and what they've done to him. And if you go read his motions, he is like literally telling them he's pointing out laws that are broken. He's pointing out Kirsten's perjury, and he was ignored because he didn't have an attorney. They said, well, we don't get what you're trying to say. You got to get an attorney. It was clear and legible to me what he was trying to say. He was pointing out that the judge allowed a picture of him in court that shouldn't have been allowed. Kirsten put a picture that shouldn't have been allowed. I mean, she's posting, to me and Andrew, she bullied and harassed us in the court. She submitted photos of us looking crazy to the court. That's harassment, okay? That is harassment, what she did to us with the court. And if any honest person were to go read these court documents, all of them, they would see exactly what was happening like I did. Because on the civil commitment too, Andrew's dad requested 4 meds for Andrew to be on, and I read the side effects to these medications. It was very concerning. Memory loss was a big one. And Andrew, every day, he'd have to take those 4 pills. Thankfully, he only had to take 1, which he should have never been forced to even take 1. And the reason why he was forced to take 1 is because he wouldn't be able to leave the mental hospital unless he did that. So he's there for 2 weeks. After he got let out, his dad and Kirsten tried to put him back in there, and the mental hospital wouldn't even take him. Tim Worminger, who kept approving, when Andrew kept having his court hearing for the civil commitment, Tim Worminger kept approving the civil commitment. And then in July, once Andrew got a new judge, the judge even said, you should have never been committed. You should have never been committed, he says to Andrew. And Kirsten, on that same civil commitment, is asked at the end of it, do you believe that Andrew is a danger to himself or anybody else? Where she says, no. She says no. So why is there an order for protection on Andrew? She abused the system. She lied to law enforcement. This is not okay behavior. This is really unacceptable what's happening in our court systems. It's not a justice system. Something needs to be done about this. And Facebook is the only place I have to go. Social media is the only place I have to turn to on this, because we've tried. Andrew has gone everywhere. I've gone everywhere I can. If anybody has any suggestions, I'm going to go to the media again and just like share my story with the media, and hopefully they'll pick it up. I don't know. But even people from Rosemount that I don't even know were reaching out to me saying, I remember hearing about this a couple of years ago and something felt wrong about it. Like something didn't sit right. So people in Rosemount believe Andrew about his mother's death. A lot of people believe Andrew. Whenever I tell this story to people that I've told people to, they're like, oh my God, they believe us. I can show court documents like proving this stuff. It's a conspiracy. They conspired against Andrew and they used the court to harass me and him. They abuse the system. This is how our system's being used. And again, it's not about a justice or what's fair or right. It's about winning. Innocent people's lives are being affected by this. Children's lives are being affected by this. That is a concern to me. I was all about Save the Children. I was out at the Capitol, out in St. Paul, marching around my signs, me and my daughter and this big group of people, Save the Children, about all the child trafficking happening. And I thought it was like Hollywood that was doing this. And I'm like, no, it's the church and it's our judicial systems that are allowing, whether it's a parent, whether it's DCF, CPS, whatever DSS, whatever groups these people are a part of, they are destroying people's lives in the court, and they are stealing people's children, and they are damaging these children because they get money for it. It's all about money. That's what our judicial system is. It's a pyramid scheme. It's all about money. And you're supposed to not need money to access the law, but which you can get a public defender, but they suck. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they're scared. These public defenders are little pussy bitches. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be mean, but they are afraid of the judges. I saw it. Even the prosecuting attorney was afraid of the judge. We should not be afraid of our judges. We should not be afraid of law enforcement. We should not have to live in fear in our country, and that's what's happening right now. So if you are getting divorced from your partner, please, 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 please put your feelings aside. Figure out how can we co-parent best for our children. That's what me and my ex-husband do. If he lived close by, we would be seeing each other all the time. We'd be all hanging out as a family still, because when I go to Ohio and I bring her, and I've driven my daughter to Ohio to see her father. I have driven her there myself. 12-hour drive, my daughter. We've gone on plenty of road trips. We all do things together as a family when we're there. We do things as a family. And hopefully Andrew will be okay with that when he comes to visit. Like, we all do things as a family. And I wish that Kirsten would be able to co-parent. We should all be able to do things as a family for all the children. But what she's done, like, I don't know what the consequences should be. I don't know. That I also don't agree with taking the girls away from their mother either, because that's also damaging. So it's like, what do we do in this situation? She should be held accountable for something that she did. A big fine, I don't know. But not allowing her children to see their father, even speak to their father on the phone, that is child abuse. She proves that she is the abusive parent. She is the abusive person. So what do we do in this situation? Because again, I don't agree with her having her daughters taken away either. But I do believe that there should be 50-50 custody. And I don't know how Andrew feels. We haven't really talked about what her consequences should be or anything else. But 2 years with zero contact over petty reasons because Andrew got a new girlfriend. That's why she did this to him. And also because, she's probably trying to help cover up Tim's crime. Because Tim took out their biggest issue was Kathleen. That was their biggest issue with all of this, was Kathleen was... Andrew told me not to talk about this on the internet, but I guess she busted Tim doing something to somebody. Andrew talks about it on his page, about what his dad did to one of his daughters or whatever. Something happened, I don't know. And I think Kathleen reported Tim. And again, also asked him to stop communicating with Kirsten, and he wouldn't. He said, I will not. So yes, I do believe that there needs to be a death investigation, a bigger one. And the people who have listened to crime podcasts told me there's no way to go after him for the murder. Okay, maybe not the murder, but the conspiracy. Absolutely. Because Andrew has plenty of character witnesses now in my life, and my dad and everybody else. He's not mentally unstable like they claimed about him. He's actually the most kind, patient, caring man I've ever met. I have been with people who are domestic abusers. I have been with people who have mental health problems. Andrew does not qualify under that at all. They lied about him. And it's because he found out the truth about his mother's death. That's what they did. They conspired against him to silence him, and they conspired against me with the court and the harassment restraining orders. They used the court to abuse me. They commit perjury on their documents. Okay, this is actually happening. This is actually real life for me and Andrew. So while other people are like, oh, this is crazy, Stephanie. Oh, you're mentally ill. Like, people who have never met me, people who have never met Andrew calling us mentally ill on the internet. I don't care. I don't know who you are, and you're clearly an ignorant person. You've never met me or Andrew. You've never even looked into this issue. You're just going off what your own mindset, brainwashing, sheep mindset is telling you without doing any investigation. When Andrew told me this, I had no plans. I had no plans to speak up about this because I was like, that is your issue. I have my own family drama. I am not trying to get involved in your family drama. And then he was arrested at gunpoint with my then 5-year-old. So I, of course, was like, oh, hell no. Like, this mama bear came out in me where I was like, this is unacceptable. I went and requested all of his arrest complaints, and I saw how Kirsten was lying. She used the same phone calls and text messages on 2 different complaints, and then she lied to law enforcement saying that Andrew was screaming her name right next to the parking lot at the church, screaming her name. He never was standing next to the parking lot. He never was screaming her name. He was across the busy road of Pilot Knob outside the church where his dad and wife were parked together at the end of the church. I went to that church. They weren't even parked by the main doors together. They're parked at the end of the church. Why? That's sneaky. That's sneaky weirdness. And Andrew was rollerblading by and saw their cars parked next to each other. He also said he saw her car on my street. He also said he thought he saw his sister drive by my house. That same summer, he's getting calls from his sister. If Stephanie doesn't delete her post, we're going to call Child Protective Services on her. His sister also told Andrew he's not allowed to hang out with me, was giving a grown man rules that he's not allowed to hang out with me. They were making fun of him. They were blackmailing him. I mean, he has recorded all the phone conversations. This is a huge investigation that, again, Rosemont police refused to sit down and investigate it. They refused to look at any of the evidence. I tried to call Carson Thomas this last week. Still haven't received a phone call back. So again, I hope maybe it's now being investigated, but this is a serious crime in Dakota County, and I will not stay silent because I still believe in the Constitution. Whether or not it puts me in jail or not, I still believe in the Constitution, and I believe that I have a right to speak on the things that I am experiencing and witnessing. And anybody who says I don't, or like Tim Wormager trying to approve, or who approved, wrote, I can't say anything regarding the petitioner on any social media site. I have to delete all my posts about him. I am trying to report a crime. This is obstruction of justice. Tim Wormager needs to be investigated. He's no longer a judge anymore. He's retired, but he needs to be investigated. And the fact that people can request judges for their own personal gains is not okay with me. That is not a justice system, and we need a major reform. So, again, you guys can all go read the court documents yourself on Andrew's case. This is one of the biggest scandals I have ever been a witness to, personal witness to, and this needs to be investigated. So, anyways, I hope you all have a great day. I love you.